From insane movie-like crashes to wild stuff on the track and totally surreal moments you've never seen, these are moments that can't be repeated in Formula 1. First off, there's this crazy moment during a free practice session at the 2017 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix when an umbrella somehow ended up on the track. The drivers couldn't believe it, swerving around it until a marshal finally grabbed it. "Nice shadow," was the sarcastic comment from some. How the heck did that umbrella get there? Now let me tell you about this wild incident with Japanese driver Taki Inoue during the free practice session 1 of the 1995 Monaco Grand Prix. After brake troubles, he parked his car in the pool area. And guess what? A tow truck came to haul the car away, but the safety car ended up colliding with the tow truck, riding over it and whacking Inoue's head. Crazy, right? And as if that wasn't enough, 3 months later, the Hungarian Grand Prix, he got hit by the safety car again. This time after his car burst into flames and he was trying to put it out with a fire extinguisher. Inoue made history, not for any stellar achievements, but for these insane incidents. And speaking of insane incidents, we can't ignore the one Mark Webber had during the 2010 European Grand Prix in Valencia. So the Aussie was having a bit of a rough race, found himself at the back of the pack and tried to overtake Heikki Kovalainen's Lotus for 17th place on lap 10. But here's the kicker, he misjudged it and slammed right into the back of the Lotus. As a result, his car went flying, like literally launched into the sky at over 300 km per hour, then nosedived before skidding and smacking into the barriers. The crazy part? Despite the car being totally wrecked, Webber walked away from the whole thing without a scratch. Can you believe it? Another one who walked away unscratched from a bizarre accident was Sebastian Buemi during the first practice at the 2010 Chinese Grand Prix. He hit the brakes at the end of the back straight and bam! His front suspension wishbone decided to call it quits. Both front wheels came flying off in unison. Now, Buemi was in a wild ride, going almost 300 km per hour, completely out of control, heading towards gravel and barriers. Talk about a helpless situation. But get this, the Swiss didn't give up. He was spinning that steering wheel like crazy, trying everything. Vitaly Petrov was also left stranded during the 2011 Malaysian Grand Prix when, after going off the track and attempting to rejoin, his car hit a bump and took a leap with all 4 wheels in the air. Upon landing, the Russian driver found himself with the steering wheel in his hands. He tried to put it back in place, but it was futile because the car's steering column had broken, a sight never seen before. Here's another crazy moment. In the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, we saw something we've never seen before. Just one car on the grid. Due to tricky conditions and some quick strategy, only Lewis Hamilton stuck around to restart on lap 4. Meanwhile, all the other 14 drivers were changing tires in the pit lane, making it this bizarre scene with only one car out there. Another unforgettable start was at the 1999 European Grand Prix in Nürburgring. Picture this, all the cars lined up, ready to go, waiting for those 5 lights to go out. But guess what? Lights didn't budge. A bunch of drivers, thinking they missed the memo, made a jump start. Turns out it was a genius move by Charlie Whiting, the FIA director at the time. Of course, they had to redo the start, and this time it went off without a hitch. And another crazy moment that you'll probably only see once in a lifetime happened during the qualifying session of the 1997 European Grand Prix at the Jerez circuit. It was the season finale, and Michael Schumacher led the championship by just 1 point over Gilles Villeneuve, so both were giving it their all that weekend. And what happened? Believe it or not, both of them clocked the exact same time in qualifying.
With a time exactly the same as Jacques Villeneuve's to the nearest 1,000th of a second.
As if that wasn't mind-blowing enough, Villeneuve's teammate Heinz-Harald Frentzen also managed to stop the clock at the same time. Truly mind-boggling. They sorted the starting order based on the order they recorded the lap, with Villeneuve taking pole position, Schumacher in second, and Frentzen in third. And if you think that's wild, how about a driver taking a detour off the circuit during a race? Well, Well, that's exactly what happened to Kimi Raikkonen during the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix. Lost in the counterclockwise maze of the Brazilian circuit, he went off at one turn and continued through the old layout on the other side of the barriers, only to realize it's a dead end. What did he do? Turn his car around, went back, and to get back on track he even had to cross through some grass. Classic Kimi. But wait, there's more. In the 2006 Monaco Grand Prix, Kimi retired due to issues with his McLaren. Instead of heading to the garage for a team chat, he strolled through the Monaco tunnel, hit the harbour area, and with his helmet still on, jumped on a yacht where his friends were hanging out. Later on, he was spotted watching the race, no shirt and carefree. Only Kimi could pull off something like that. Now, here's a real head-scratcher from the 2013 Korean Grand Prix. So there's a safety car period, right? Well, normally it's the safety car that takes the lead, but not this time. In this race, the fire car stole the show. Mark Webber's car decided to go up in flames, and before you knew it, the fire car zoomed onto the track ahead of the safety car. The safety car, feeling a bit shy, hung out at the back of the grid, while the drivers were left scratching their heads, wondering whether to follow the fire car or carry on. But that's not the only time an uninvited guest crashed the party on the track. Flashback to the 2003 British Grand Prix at Silverstone. A dude from the stands decided to make a cameo. Picture this, he's rocking an orange Scottish kilt, green stockings, a vest, tie, beret, and to top it off, a Star of David painted on his forehead. This guy starts sprinting down the hangar straight while the cars are racing by at over 270 km per hour, trying their best to dodge him. Turns out he's a radical Irish priest with a mission to warn the world about conflicts in the Middle East that could lead to a third world war. The race quickly turned into a safety car situation while the marshals nabbed the priest. Talk about things taking an unexpected turn. And a race that definitely wasn't in the script was the 2005 United States Grand Prix, also known as the most embarrassing race ever. So, in Indianapolis that weekend, teams using Michelin tires were having a rough time at the super fast banked turn 13, causing quite a few accidents during practice. Because of this, the teams with Michelin tires requested a modification to introduce a chicane there, as they couldn't handle the pressure of the corner. After lots of back and forth among the teams, F1 and the FIA, guess what? Nothing happened. So, come Sunday, all the Michelin teams did the formation lap and then decided to hit the pit, leaving everyone in disbelief. That meant the race only had 6 cars on the track, all with Bridgestone tires. It turned into the weirdest and most controversial race in F1 history, seriously staining the image of F1 and the FIA, thanks to the disappointing show they put on. Now, let's shift gears from a bit of a downer to one of the all-time great shows, courtesy of the legend Ayrton Senna and his first home turf triumph in the 1991 Brazilian Grand Prix. Ayrton was killing it in the race, just 10 laps away from victory, cruising with a whopping 36-second lead over Riccardo Patrese's Williams. And then, the gearbox decided to throw a fit. So, what did Ayrton do? He rocked the last 7 laps in 6th gear with Patrese hot on his heels, and to make things more interesting, rain decided to join the party in the final stretch. Senna put his heart and soul into it, pulling off a jaw-dropping physical feat. With sheer brilliance, he held off Patrese and snagged the win on his home turf. But here's the kicker. The McLaren driver was dealing with muscle spasms, shoulder cramps, and neck strains. He needed a hand to get out of the car. And at the podium, well, lifting that winner's trophy, let's just say it wasn't a walk in the park. This epic saga, only the legendary Ayrton Senna could make it happen. And to wrap things up, another weekend straight out of a blockbuster movie, and one that's sure not to be repeated, was the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix. It was the first ever night race and the excitement was through the roof. So during the race, Fernando Alonso, starting 15th, was the first to make an early pit stop. A few laps later, his teammate Nelson Piquet Jr. crashed into the barriers, causing a safety car that conveniently catapulted Alonso into the lead, while the rest rest of the pack seized the chance to hit the pits. Alonso took the checkered flag in the end, but hold up, something's fishy, right? At first, Piquet claimed his crash was a mistake, but fast forward a year after leaving the team and bam, he spilled the beans. He crashed on purpose, following team orders to give Alonso an advantage. Now imagine the chaos that ensued, one of the wildest scandals in FIA history. Flavio Briatore and Pat Simmons, the bigwigs at Renault back then, got slapped with some serious reprimands from the FIA. Yet, against all odds, Alonso got to keep that victory in the books. And you know what else will appear in the books? Drivers throwing punches at marshals, some cooking up race schemes, and others pulling off jaw-dropping crashes wherever they turn. Curious for more? Click here to dive into the dirtiest drivers in Formula One history.